Hi everyone, it's Roger and Jeremy here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about White Fang, and this is a movie that's been picked out by our patrons and YouTube channel members, and you get access to these episodes a little bit earlier and also get to influence what we watch. So let's talk about White Fang. I'm going to be honest. This was a movie I had never seen before. This is generally a theme that I do like to do with these movies. They definitely stand out when people pick out stuff that I've not seen, more likely to watch it. So this one originally came out in 1991, and it stars Ethan Hawke and kind of ends up, he goes up to the Yukon, or up to, I think it's, yeah, I think he went up to the Yukon, and to try and find some gold, finds a dog that's half a wolf, rescues it, and that kind of cements their thing. My problem with this movie is, I think as a whole, there's some elements to it that are very generic, and it's very long. I mean, I didn't quite expect. I mean, it's what, about two and a half. It felt long. It was like, yeah, it did feel 107 minutes. It's just short of two hours. It's like it could have really done with some little bits of slices and stuff. My problem again with this one is in the last 12 months, so I've seen Togo, which was the Disney Plus original movie, and we also had Call of the Wild drop onto Disney Plus earlier last year in the UK as well. So seeing like this is like the third of these kind of movies set in this era. And yeah, I mean, they're very different in some ways, but they're also very similar. It's kind of weird seeing Ethan Hawke, because he's kind of an actor, and he's going to be in the upcoming Disney Plus Moonlight series. I know he's in stuff, but I don't really ever recall him being kind of in a lot of things that I've ever watched. And this one was definitely one I'd not seen before. I enjoyed aspects of it. It was a little bit long in the tooth. What about you?
Yeah. I'd never seen it before. I read the book at school. It was required reading. And I really enjoyed the book. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll enjoy the movie. Not so much. It it dragged in a lot of places. And the dog fighting scene, I knew was coming up. And I did not want to see that. Particularly, I'm not a fan of dog fighting. It's
I did
bad.
like I
I
did
don't
like
know
that
how else to say that.
it was quite graphic, really. And also,
Yeah.
I mean, you had those warnings at the beginning of the movie, telling you that they staged them, and they weren't fighting. And I mean, it was the fact that they came up quite from the word go of going. I was like, well, is this added like later, or did they originally do this the first time around? Because it felt quite old. I thought, well,
Hmm.
you kind of open a sentence and go, yeah, we know it's really rough, but we kind of telling you to be careful. And it was, I mean, you could sense that kind of thing of like, you don't pick on the dog, you don't fight I mean, you knew the dog was going to get his come up, those guys were going to get their comeuppance. I mean, I literally
Yeah.
finished watching it about like 2 hours ago, and I'm like going, yeah, you deserve what you got. I mean, they did get a
Yeah.
humility.
It's
um
been a long time since I've been so happy to see a villain get shot because I'm like,
yeah,
normally I'm
I
like,
mean,
yeah, apprehend them. And I'm like, you guys could have offed them and I'd have been fine with that.
yeah, it's kind of a funny one, because I'm just like, you're looking here. I mean, I had a budget of 14 million, pulled in 34 million. This is, again, these are the kind of the movies that Disney used to release a lot of,
Yeah.
but they never really pulled in the big crowd. And also they were very, I would say, very domestic. They were very US based. I don't even know.
Yeah.
Apparently it's big in France, but these are
I
the kind
don't
of
know
movies.
why.
I mean, it's that kind of weird thing of just like looking here now of, there's no concept of even like, yeah, it's kind of a strange one, really, because just looking here at what the box office mojo. It is, it's a real strange movie, like how I missed this one. But then again, I think had it been on the shelf at the video shop when I was 11 years old and looked at it, I'd have been like, yeah, the poster wouldn't have stood out to me. Just
Yeah.
looking here now, at like the weekend of when it first came out, of like seeing here how it all worked, and it is very much. Yeah, I mean, it was up against Kindergarten Cop and Dances with Wolves and Home Alone, so it was out around the same all around that sort of period. And Home Alone and even Kindergarten Cop and Dances with Wolves all had a much bigger impact
Yeah.
than that particular movie.
Well, I mean, if you're going to watch a wolf movie, their Dances with Wolves had a broader appeal here in the U.S. than White Fang did.
Mm.
Um, Home Alone, you can't really argue with Home Alone.
Well,
And
this
then
is, I mean, just
Kindergarten
yeah,
Cop is Arnie doing comedy. One of the times it works,
yeah.
actually.
Because just looking here again, it was a domestic. It was they never released it. It was the international box office isn't even listed. It was very
Yeah.
much and again that can have a massive impact on how I view sometimes some of these movies, because essentially then if it either got released on VHS, if it didn't have a marketing campaign behind it and Disney didn't get behind it, it just wouldn't have been there. Yeah, it says here they
Yeah.
released it on videotape in June, but that might be even the US. So I think that's definitely an interesting aspect sometimes of looking at it, where history was very different to now, where everything kind of gets released globally and we'll hear about things. At the time,
Mhm.
if you didn't see a poster or you didn't see it on TV or you didn't see it in your video shop, that was as far back as you wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know about it.
And I kind of wonder, Jack London, I believe, is an American author um, who wrote the original book. And I wonder if that has some appeal to it there, because it seems like here in the States, we get stories based off of authors globally, but
Yeah.
stuff from our authors don't seem to get marketed out, which is weird since we're very big about pushing everything else we do on everyone.
Yeah, I think generally as a whole, kind of, I think, especially me growing up, you tended to, they were probably along the lines of, we have enough English writers, we're fine, thank you. We've got a fair few, and therefore, we've got all our own characters. And there is that thing, and none of this stuff was on our curriculum. I mean, Gold Rush, or the whole idea of going to America wasn't even part of something that we learned about. So all of this kind of information about and a lot of it is picked up through movies and things like that, because they just wasn't part of our history, so they didn't cover it.
Yeah.
So just looking here, I'm just like having a quick look and stuff. Yeah, so it was released in the UK in the end of 2000, in the end of 1991. But yeah, it's kind of one of
But
those
with
things.
no marketing.
Probably, yeah. It's that situation again, like with no knowledge of the book. It's that kind of thing as well. Of like, obviously the kid. I mean, he's completely wide-eyed, completely novice. I mean, how he survived without the guys helping him out. But I think it was how long it took them to get to the dog point. They
Mhm.
really stretched that up of
Yeah.
how I mean, it was nearly 45 minutes, 50 minutes in before they kind of met each other properly. And I think, come on,
Yeah.
you know, you need to pick up the pace here a little bit.
Yeah. It's I thought Marvel drug out some of their backstories on those early movies. That's nothing compared to this.
Yeah, it was. I'm glad I watched it. It's definitely in that thing of I will never think I'll ever watch it again.
I would
It's never
never
really good.
recommend this to anyone. Never.
I think the thing is, if I was to, it's like right now, I'd watch Togo. It's better. It's
Togo's
just
better.
Togo's
Absolutely.
better. Even I mean, Call of the Wild isn't fantastic, but it's at least a little bit more entertaining. This one just seems to have just got. It's just a bit sluggish.
I watched it and
And
kind of felt like a live action version of Balto with the half dog, half wolf, and I'm like, I would recommend Balto, but that's not on Disney Plus.
yeah, it's there was aspects to it that I liked, and but there was just a lot of it just felt a bit long, and it's like the fight scenes. I mean, they could have done maybe with a bit of trimming. And then
Yeah.
there's like whole thing of like they got the gold, and then he kind of gave up and went back for the dog, and it's like okay. Um, yeah, it was one of those really weird movies of going. I'm glad I've seen it. I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 again, because it's just very average. It's very there wasn't. It, I didn't really have any problems with it other than it being a bit long and a bit slow. But there wasn't. I'm not sitting there going, "Oh, that was awful."
Yeah.
It was dreadful. I mean, because I think you're a bit more critical of it.
Yeah. I was, and my criticism may be coming from having read the book and
Yeah,
liking the book. I'd give it a 2 out of 5. I was bored through a lot of it. I had to watch it in chunks because I was just like, I'm going to fall asleep if I try to watch this straight through. But the thing
again,
is,
I
I
think
personally wouldn't recommend it. But if
yeah,
you like wolves and you like dogs, maybe check it out.
Yeah, I'll be honest. My dog seemed to be much more enthralled with it because I sent you over this picture. My dog she was sat on my lap, just like this, watching it. Especially when the dog was like howling and crying and all the rest of it. At some point, I was going, "Yeah, the dog's actually paying more attention to this than I am." And it was like literally for half the movie, we just sat there watching it. So it's a great movie to put on with your dogs.
I would probably spend more time watching the dog watching the movie than watching the movie myself.
It was literally she just sat there on the just looking straight at the television. So yeah, she enjoyed it. But no, so overall,
Put it on dog TV.
yeah, for not dog TV. I'm sure a lot of people will like it. Again, these are the benefit of Disney Plus. You can kind of reach in, pull out some movies that necessarily don't maybe know, pick out movies that you've not seen before, try something out, rather than kind of watching the same thing over. There's probably a reason why sometimes with these movies you've never heard of them. Um, I mean, I always think back to when Disney Plus originally announced its original lineup about 18 months ago now, and there was like half the people going, "I've never know that movie. I don't know what that one is. I don't know what this one is." And this would have been one of those movies for me going, "Yep, never heard of it."
Yeah.
But nevertheless, let us know what you think of White Fang in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Remember, you can go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. You can like, follow, and subscribe, and you can also support us on Patreon or YouTube channels membership, and you can get access to these episodes a little bit earlier, and you also get to influence what we watch. On that note, guys, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you guys soon. Laters.
Bye.